is all for you, man. We love you. And it's all for you. All of you. We love you, we the people. We love you, veterans. We love you, servicemen and women. We are here. We got your back. And we, Gold Star mothers, are not going to stop. Yeah, something's wrong, all right. Toxic, abusive leadership. That's what's wrong. Negligence. Why can't we just be accountable? Come on. Come on. Fort Bragg. Come on, Teri. What fort? Navy base. Okay, so it wouldn't be a fort, so it'd be, what do you call it? Just a naval base? Okay.
The biggest naval base in the world.
Which one is it?
The one in Norfolk, Virginia?
The one in Norfolk, Virginia. We're calling you out, folks. We care about our soldiers. We care about you. We love you. We got your back. We got your six, baby. You know what? The Army woke up a sleeping giant. The Navy woke up a sleeping giant. We're here. You woke us up. Yeah. Don't forget. This is for you, Brandon. It's for you, Caleb. We love you guys. We love you gals. We got your back. We just want you to be able to do your job. We just want you to be able to come home or die valiantly on the battlefield, which is what you signed up for and what we gave our only sons for. Brandon was Teri's only son. Only child. But what these kind of circumstances do to families is just outrageous.
Yeah. Brandon wanted to be a dad so bad.
Yeah, Caleb, yeah.
Caleb wanted to get married so bad. Have a life.
Well, I mean, that's it. That's what they want. Mm-hmm. And that was ripped, literally ripped from their hands.
It still shocks me. I don't know, like, how long has it been for you, Teri?
It'll be 3 years this June 25th.
Can we light a candle for our guys? I've got these 2 candles right here.
Oh, good, because I don't have any candles.
Hey, let's see here. I need to find my lighter. Okay, I'm gonna be right back. I gotta get a lighter. Can't believe I didn't have it all planned out. I found my Texas lighter.
Caleb loves
I
Texas.
love you, Caleb.
You love Texas.
He loved Texas so much. And he loves his battles. His buddies that all he wanted to do was die valiantly on the battlefield. If he was going to do that, that's all he wanted to do.
Yeah.
And Brandon, he was, let's see here. I'm sorry, I got the candles right here. Let me just set them right. I'm trying to get the camera just right. Brandon was in the Navy SEAL program, right?
That is correct. He sure was.
Okay, so tell me again how long it's been for you.
It'll be 3 years.
3 years.
June 25th.
Yeah. Just trying to wrap my mind around that. Yeah, I was just thinking today about how amazing you are. I know you don't like to hear that. And I honestly, I feel the same dang way. But it's just true. Like you were like one of the very first people that I met after learning about Caleb, and I'm pretty sure it's okay. My cat does the same thing.
It's Brandon's kitty, and he knows we're talking about it.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, I just remember, like, I'm pretty sure, like, I met you probably, like, the same day as I met Shanta. Like,
Yeah, I think so.
because I had posted something about Caleb and the specifics of what was going on, and then all of a sudden I heard all this, like, oh my gosh, it's happening again. I know, can you believe it? And then just all this stuff, and then it wasn't, but I don't even remember. I'd actually, maybe I should go back and look at all of our stream of messengers or something. It would be kind of fun. But, I mean, you, like, what you're doing for, like, I mean, it's for Brandon, but it's also for, like, all of the other service members. It's in his honor, but it's like this Brandon act. And we'll get into all of it. I'm kind of just setting the landscape kind of for what we're going to be talking about. So I'm going to shut up here in just a second. And if it's okay, I'll just kind of chime in every now and then if I might have a question, or if somebody else from my live stream might have a question. So but I just wanted to say I really appreciate your friendship and your sisterhood, and thank you so much for walking me through this difficult time. And I mean, I don't even know what's before me. You have gone before me, and you see that, and I appreciate everything that you're doing for all of our service members, for Caleb's brothers and sisters, Brandon's brothers and sisters, Kamisha's brothers and sisters, people that are still in. And if you are a Army mom, a Navy mom, a military mom, we just want to say we love you and we got your back, and we want to protect your service member, your Patriot, and it is our goal and our mission to make sure that our service members are protected on their own territory, and that we rid as best we can, or at least we need to bring back this empathy and just this toxic abusive leadership has to go. So, okay, I'm gonna just because I could talk forever, you know me. So everyone, this is Teri Caserta. This is Brandon Caserta's mother. Here's Brandon. Here's Teri. And the floor is yours.
Heather, I want to thank you for having me on and encouraging me to come on. You know how I am. I do not like lives. I do not like. But with your help and encouragement, I am here. A little nervous, of course, but I guess that's expected.
Yeah,
But thank you. I appreciate it. And again, I'm with you. I love our friendship. We have blossomed as friends. You have been there for me, even though I'm, 2 years ahead of you. I think we help each other in ways that, each of us don't realize. And that goes for all of our friends, the friends that we have in our little circle.
Pod.
I love them all.
Yes.
And I also want to make sure that everybody knows what we are doing is not a smear campaign on the military at all.
No. Further from the truth.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying that's further from the truth.
Exactly. Yeah. I love our military. Do I like Brandon's command and the people and his leadership? No, I don't. They left him behind. But do I love the Navy? Of course I do. We need the Navy. We need the Army.
Yes.
We need the Air Force and the Marines. We need them. They are the ones, our service members are the ones that are keeping us free. We are free because of them. And for that, I thank every one of you. So with that said, I guess I'll just give you an idea of what Brandon was. And if I choke up, I'm sorry. I figured 3 years into this, I would be semi-past the tier, but they are on the surface like it was yesterday. So, just to let you know, Brandon, as a person, was kind, considerate, lived by his karate code words, which he had been in karate since he was 4. I love his instructors. I still talk to them periodically to this day. But his karate code words are honor, respect, patience, and kindness. And he lived by those words until the day he died. And not one person in his command could do the same. When, as Brandon was growing up, if he acted up, which was very, very few, I can count on my hands how many times he really got in trouble, and this was when he was like 5 and under. But as he grew up, all I had to say to him was, "Are you living by your karate code words?" And he would say, "No." And then he would think about that and change his whole demeanor.
Check himself.
Yeah, he, Brandon was the kindest person I think I've ever known. When he was in grade school, and even when he was in high school, he was on this, I call it a lunch program, but it's not a program. We fed his lunch account with money, and we would put in $100. Well, that should have lasted him the entire month, and it wasn't. And we were thinking, okay, well, maybe he's not getting enough to eat.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Was that a sneeze?
No, I'm just laughing because I can remember Caleb doing the same story. Of feeding money into his account, and then, I don't know.
He would buy kids lunch if they did not have lunch. And he did not want them, because they can get a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for free if they did not bring their lunch. And he's like, "No, you need more than just a peanut butter and jelly sandwich." So he would buy them lunches. And, you know, and when we questioned him about that, why the money was disappearing so quickly, he was so proud to tell us, well, I'm buying lunch for so-and-so because he didn't bring his lunch. And, you know, that completely touched our hearts. So we told him, okay, that is great. We want you to continue to do that, but you have to let us know, because we were getting these notices saying that he's withdrawn on the account. So I said, we told him, in order to keep the money up, we needed to be informed of, you know, how often he's doing this. And he did it until the day he, you know, graduated from high school.
Oh.
And he would bring home homeless people, because he felt sorry for them, and we would feed them and, you know, let them shower, you know,
Wow, really?
Yeah. And it wasn't
Wow.
It wasn't all the time. It wasn't like every day.
Yeah.
Maybe once every 2 months, except when it got closer to, you know, like holidays like Christmas. That was his favorite holiday, was Christmas. He would bring them home a little more often. And we also found out that he would stay after school and help these special needs kids with their homework. He was, in high school, when he tore his meniscus in his knee from playing football, we would have to pick him up because he was in this cast. Well, it wasn't a cast, it was a brace. It was a straight-legged brace. And he wasn't coming out of you know, school. So we went in looking for him, and he was sitting there at the lunch tables, because I don't know, they didn't put him away or something, and he was helping these kids. And he was very polite and said, you know, I'm helping them. Can you just wait a few more minutes? And of course we're going to say, well, yeah. So he was helping them. Excuse me. And so that is the type of person Brandon was. He loved life. He loved people. He loved, obviously, animals. He just genuinely loved everybody, and he would give the shirt off his back if somebody asked him. He had the biggest smile, and everybody commented, you know, his teachers and you know, especially the friends' moms, the families of his friends would say he is the most politest young man, and his smile just lit up the room when he smiled. And we found out that when he first went to Norfolk, he helped this pastor, which we didn't realize he was a pastor. He sold sports memorabilia at the NEX, which is the commissary for the Navy. And Brandon would go there after work, after he worked all day long, and help this pastor. He would rearrange his items to where they fit and looked better. So he let him, and he sold a lot more.
Oh my goodness.
And he also, the pastor, and I apologize, can't remember his name, said that Brandon would put together these memorabilia, plaques and I don't know, figurines, and put them together, make a little collection out of them. And he said Brandon couldn't make them fast enough to, because people were buying them. He had this knack.
Wow.
It was a very good
Creative.
But anyway, so that's the type of person Brandon was, and I hate using was.
Yeah.
But so yes, Brandon came to Patrick, my husband, his dad, one day, and told us that he wanted to join the military, the Navy in particular, and we did not want him to join at all. My husband, Patrick, is a 22-year Navy senior chief. He was in recruiting. He was on, ships, and we did not want him to join at all. We wanted him to go to college, become a police officer, anything but join the military. Patrick saw that it was changing.
Mm-hmm.
But Brandon wanted to be a Navy SEAL. Okay, so we were in this boat where either we can support him or not support him and have him leave anyway when he turns 18.
Yeah.
He told us he wanted to join when he was 15. And he told us all he wanted to do was become a Navy SEAL. So for almost 3 years, this poor kid worked out nonstop when he was not in school.
Determined.
Yes. We got him, he asked for Christmas, he asked for a weight vest. So we got him a weight vest.
Wow.
And this weight vest, you could take out the bars and, put more in, take out, just so you, and I think it weighed like over 500 pounds with all of the weight in it.
Uh-huh.
And this kid would ride his bike. He was in swimming, and he had been in swimming since he was 4 as well. And we were like, I don't know, probably 5 miles from maybe 6 miles from the swimming pool that he was going to. It was the USA swim team is what he was going for. He would ride his bike there, which was about 6 miles. He'd swim nonstop for 2 hours. He would ride his bike to his high school, which was about a mile away from our house, work out, do his own workout, and then come home about 9 o'clock to do his homework. And then on Tuesdays and Thursday mornings, he would go to what they call, I call it pre-SEAL workout in the morning he had to be there like at 4:30 in the morning. So this kid was waking up at 3:30. The kids would come and pick him up because Brandon did not drive, and then he would do the whole thing all over again every day. And literally for almost 3 years we did not see Brandon. We did manage to eat dinner with him. That was one thing that he had to do. But when he came home from the workout, he would take a shower and hit the books. He hated school, but he would hit the books and then come down and tell us goodnight. That was it for 3 years. And then when he finally did the test to get into the SEAL program, you have to do a rigorous test. And you have to do, swimming, and you have to do sit-ups and push-ups and pull-ups and a run, and you have to do it all in so much time. And he, unfortunately, and I say this, he got it the first time he tried it. And
that's amazing.
Nobody does that. Well, I can't say nobody does that. It's rare that somebody does that. And when he was working out in the mornings like that with because they were actual SEALs that were training them, his recruiter, we took him to a meeting for recruiting, and we were sitting out in the car. It was blessed hot because we live in Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
So hot, dead of summer. And his recruiter came out and said, you know, the SEAL team down there called me and said we needed to come and watch Brandon. He said, he is going to blow your mind. So he goes, I did not want to wake up that early, but he goes, I did. And he said, I could not believe what I was seeing. Brandon, not only, I mean, he always finished first. And then like in his swim, he would finish in the amount of, you know, the length of time that he needed to do it, but he got done early. He would swim back to the ones that were lagging behind and encourage them to finish, you know, encouraging them while he's swimming and they're swimming. And
Sounds like our boy.
running, they had to run. It's not much, but I think it was 1.5 miles. And the Navy SEAL, you know, they time them, and his recruiter's telling me, you know, he's like, okay, the SEAL trainer is telling his recruiter, okay, Brandon should be coming around that corner right about now. And here he comes. And the recruiter said, he smiled the entire time. He said that kid was not out of breath. He said, and then he goes, and the run was the last thing you do. And you only have, you know, anywhere between 3 minutes and 5 minutes to rest in between, like your sit-ups and your swimming and your pull-ups and stuff like that. So he said, here he comes with the hugest smile on his face. And he said, next thing I know, Brandon is running back and encouraging the others to make it, that they can do it. And he said, if anybody will make a SEAL team, it's going to be Brandon. He said, no doubt. And he apologized to us for trying to discourage us from allowing Brandon to do the SEAL training. So Brandon joins. So now he's at boot camp in September of 2016. He was 18, and he obviously made it through boot camp. And God, we could not wait to see him at graduation. And before they even announced that we can go to our sailor, Patrick and I were running down the bleachers. And they're like, whoa, you can't do that. You know, you have to wait. We're like, screw that. We were running down there. It was kind of comical. And, you know, Brandon, you could see his smile a mile away. He was so happy. And then his comment to us was, well, I just got done with boot camp, and now I'm going to have to, I am so out of shape. Because he said all they did was sit cross-legged all the time. He goes, oh, don't get me wrong, we ran and stuff. He goes, that was like nothing.
He was bored.
Yep. He goes, now I have to get back into shape. I'm, you know,
He's like, these fools will slow me down, man.
So after that, they go to pre-bud. And pre-buds is just across the street at another base in Illinois. So he goes there, and it was the Thanksgiving weekend. So he had, you know, a three-day weekend, but he still had to muster in the morning. So we spent a lot of time with him on that trip, and he was at pre-buds, I want to say like 3 or 4 weeks, and then if they were good enough to go to actual SEAL training, they went to San Diego,
Okay.
North Island. So that's that. He ended up there, of course. We knew that. And so now he's in the real SEAL training.
So he passes the what you call it, pre-bud?
Pre-buds.
Okay. So he passes that.
He is in big league, right?
And now he's in the program.
Yep.
The Navy SEAL program. What he's always wanted to do.
Exactly. So we talked to him one weekend when he didn't have duty, and I asked him, so what do you think? Are you working out? And I said, what? I said, do you like it? And he goes, what is there not to like? He said, I am getting paid to work out.
To do what I love to do.
I'm like, what? Well, it was comical. It was funny. It really was.
Getting paid to work out.
So he was, he loved the workout. So in week 2 of Bud's, his shin starts hurting. And at first he's telling us, well, I think it's just shin splints. It feels different than shin splints, but I think I can work through it. So a week goes by and he's still really complaining about it. So Patrick's like, you need to go to the doctor. So Brandon does go to the doctor and begs for an x-ray, and the doctor says, no, it's shin splints. And Brandon's like, no, it is not shin splints. Trust me, I know what shin splints are. I've had them all the time. He goes, that's not what this is. So the doctor's like, well, I'm not doing an x-ray, so you just need to go back to training. So Brandon did that 3 times, and all 3 times they told him that it was shin splints and that he needed to get back to training. So one day, they carry these boats on head, and they run. They've changed the boats now. They were a lot heavier. And he collapsed, and he got back up and ran back under the boat, and then he collapsed and passed out. Well, when he woke up, he was in the back of a pickup truck being taken to the famous bell that they ring when what they call tap out or want to quit the SEAL training. And Brandon he told us that he was there for like 15 minutes arguing with this SEAL trainer, saying, all I need is medical attention. Something is wrong with my leg. I want medical attention. And this SEAL trainer said, no, you're done. You can't do it. You're not SEAL worthy. You can't do it. And Brandon is begging him, I'm not ringing the bell. I'm not ringing the bell. So the guy rings it for him. That is illegal. Brandon did not tap out. We have looked up the rules, and before Brandon went in, we actually drove to San Diego and talked to several Navy SEALs, and they said, you have to ring the bell. So Brandon's like, well, what the heck? I won't curse.
You're so good.
So that was it. Brandon was done. And when they are done, they are taken immediately to 32nd Street, which is another naval base in San Diego, where they have to choose another job. And how they do that is they print out a list based on, number 1, the Navy's needs at that time on that day. So if it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon, whatever jobs are available, that is what's going to be printed based on your ASVAB score. Now, Brandon got like 4 or 5 jobs, and all of them were what they call like deck seamen, which means they don't go to school, they're not rated, they don't have a rate. They could do, like, I think one of them was fire something, but it was on a ship in the basement type, and then he had deck seaman, which he's on the flight line. But the one thing that Brandon did have on his list was aviation electrician, which means he is going to go to school and learn about electronics. So that's what he did. It's aviation, so he was going to be working on quite sure if they were going to be helicopters or jets or whatever until he got to Pensacola, Florida. He picked the best one out of the group of 4 or 5 that he had. And so he's going to be rated, and that's what we wanted. We wanted him to be rated. We did not want him stuck in a job that wasn't going to be good for him. Of course, obviously, aviation electrician wasn't good for him either. So he went to school for, I think, 4 months to Pensacola, Florida. He got his orders to Norfolk, Virginia. And he, when he got to Norfolk, he went to what the Navy calls C School. And C School is just specialized training for what he was going to be working on, which would have been, I believe it was HM-60S helicopter. So he went to school for another, I believe, 2 more months for specialized training. When he checked into his command, he checked in with his driver's license and his military ID. And when they found out Brandon was a SEAL drop, they started calling him a Buds Dud. And Buds means demolition, underwater, basic underwater demolition SEAL. That is what Buds stands for. So they called him a Buds Dud, which did not sit well with Brandon, but, he didn't say anything. He was new to the command. He just, sucked it up, I guess.
So they're mocking him.
Yes. And so that Christmas, they would not allow Brandon to come home for Christmas. So he had to stay there. So we sent him a package, and his LPO, which is a leading petty officer, and I am going to say names, Jared Brose, received our package for Brandon, and he handed, from what we understand from Brandon, he handed everybody their own package, but Brandon's, he dropped in the middle of the floor and told him, Brandon, this is yours, come get it. And Brandon's like, well, whatever. Well,
hold on a second. How old are these guys?
We believe Rose is probably in his 30s.
Really, a grown adult?
Yeah.
In a professional setting is... Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So...
Just checking.
I know, I should have said that. I didn't even think of that. Rose is very lucky that nothing broke in that package. I had packed it pretty good, but I couldn't believe he did that. I was mad, for lack of better, to keep it clean here.
Yeah.
But, Brandon's like, don't worry about it. Nothing broke. It's fine. Well, so time goes on, and, Brandon's just saying, everybody in that command hates me. For 2 years, Brandon was subjected to this crap. And I'm just going to jump forward because there was a lot of stuff that they were doing to Brandon. Patrick called the command probably about a week before probably 2 weeks before Brandon died, and talked to his...
Patrick is your husband, right?
Patrick is my husband.
Okay,
Brandon's,
just making sure.
He called Spence, and Spence is the... oh my gosh. I forgot what he is. He's a counselor, for the command.
Uh-huh.
And he kind of took Brandon under his wing. Well, when Patrick told Remy Spence, what was going on, he left a message because he didn't pick up because he knew. And he went and gave the message to the maintenance master chief, Pete Lorette, who is now retired. So Pete Lorette called Patrick back and pretended like he was the command master chief. So, and all he kept saying was, we've got your back, brother. We've got Brandon. You know, we're going to protect him, blah, 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 right? So next thing we know, Brandon, after his, okay, I'm going to curse, ass chewing from Pete Lorette, Brandon texted us and said, you did not speak to the CMC, Command Master Chief. You spoke with the maintenance master chief. And Patrick's like, what? And Brandon's like, yes. And he called me into his office and proceeded to yell at me. He was yelling so hard that he was spitting all over me, cursing at me. And Patrick's like, what the hell is going on? So, of course, nobody called. Nobody called Patrick back. He was furious. He was going to call the commanding officer, and I wish we would if Brandon stopped him. But anyway, so a week before Brandon died, he left a letter in the CO's, the commanding officer's anonymous box, and slipped a copy under the commanding officer's door. And this was done on June 18th, which was exactly 1 week before Brandon died. And how we know that, Brandon took a picture of this letter on his phone and took a picture of the printer that he printed it off of, showing that it was the command's very own computer and printer. And this letter, which is right here, because it's redacted, we've got it on his phone that's not, we know who this is, told him point blank what was wrong with his command. And, I should have highlighted some of this, but he's proceeding to tell him that this Bros character, I call him a character,
the one that screamed at him.
His leading petty officer, the Bros, the one who screamed at him was Pete Lorette.
Okay.
So Bros, he writes on this letter, if you don't mind, I'm just gonna...
Just read the letter.
The whole thing?
Read it, girl.
Okay, so it says subject, and we know it says AE1 Bros. He says, I've been keeping quiet and debating about doing this for a long time, but it has to be done. This LPO treats his workers under him worse than garbage. I can't think of a better way to put this than how the recent article was written about MechPon. He fosters a hostile work environment inside his small shop. He has an unpredictable temper that the slightest occurrence of things not going his way, he just goes off instead of de-escalating the situation and finding a more proper, calm way of doing things. He can verbally abuse towards his coworkers, referring to everyone as, excuse the language that he uses, as his bitch or other derogatory, degrading terms. As a first class who has been in 12 years, he, 1, doesn't act like it, 2, doesn't hold himself to the standard of a first class. He acts more childish and immature than the junior sailors he's in charge of. Example, he talks about a lot of chiefs higher rank behind their backs being realistic. Everyone does it to a certain degree, but not, in caps, in front of the whole shop to hear. Has extremely, all caps, unprofessional. I don't Chief says, she isn't here. I'm telling you what to do right fucking now. You listen to me. I don't care. Chief is a dumbass. Don't listen to them. Another example, a chief walks in, tells bros something, said chief walks out, he will just blatantly yell out douchebag or dumbass, just two small examples. For everyone trying to make Chief be sure, he sure shows a lot of disrespect to the rank as a whole. This man is too incompetent and most certainly not the right fit to, quote, lead some of the newest personnel in the command. He not too long ago got kicked off of debt, which he did. He got kicked off of deployment. That's what debt is. For behavioral reasons, and somewhere along the line, someone had a good idea to let him be the example of the most impressionable shop at the command. They definitely learned and are learning what not to be. If anyone stays in the Navy because of him, they get treated like dogs, and he rules over them. He believes that what he does, things that he is supposed to do, that means they need to work harder and give him more. I might add that he puts them off until the very last possible second. And if that involves marriage and or BAH, that really could mess up someone's personal life. He is the reason morale is down in the line shack. It's hard to respect someone who doesn't respect others and abuses his position. The workload is fine, very fast-paced, and can be exhausting at times, but it's manageable. So his working was not the issue. I'm telling you that. You didn't know that. The hardest part of the line shack workday is surviving the shift with him. This is my last attempt at hope, for a change either in him or preferably a different LPO. Personally, I suggested he name somebody, which I don't know. It's also certain that they need a strong second class for night check supervisor. And then he named somebody, which is redacted, on occasion, and it was a girl. She would like to be night check supervisor. So that letter he wrote to the commanding officer was ignored. He writes it in writing, the abuse, that not only him, because it wasn't only Brandon, anybody who was under bros.
And he wouldn't the command wouldn't even let you talk to anybody over there. Right? I mean, you can get to that later, but I'm just stating for now, like, I'm thinking about that, and I'm sure our viewers are too. So that's coming. It's another big one, folks. Just wait. Just stay up. Just. All right, it's getting good. If it's not already good already. Folks, this is tough shit, man. I cannot believe, I mean, my jaw literally dropped when you read that letter, Teri. I'm actually just still recovering from it. I mean, he was reaching out for help. He was begging for it, and he was explaining.
To have written the commander too.
What's up?
For him to have written.
For him to have written the commander like that. I mean, that's a big step. And to be so blatant. And yeah, I mean, the like, I'm thinking about this being an adult man. Like, okay, just because you're in the military doesn't mean you have to be a total dick to everyone you're around. I mean, what? Like, human kindness, I don't know, just normal. Like, I don't treat the people I work with like that.
I never did either.
I mean, like, that kind of person wouldn't be able to keep a job anywhere.
Exactly.
In civilian land. So why are we, like, can you really, like, if he can't handle his anger, Like, how are we going to expect he's going to be able to handle himself on a battlefield, like, in a sane way without pulling some crazy shit?
Can you imagine him leading the charge in a war?
Well, he wouldn't have anybody that had his back now, would he?
Nope, not at all.
For the fire, folks.
He's a coward. He'd send everybody before him in battle. I can just see it.
Mm-hmm.
I totally see it. But, I blame
Baby.
the guy.
Goo goo gaga.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Exactly.
That's how I feel about it.
That was a week before he died. Now, the week he died, the same week that he wrote this and sent it to the commanding officer, Bros again was Brandon did not drive. He did not drive. He hated driving.
Sounds familiar.
Right. We sent him to the number one driving school here in Phoenix to hopefully get him a little more comfortable and wanting to drive.
Yeah.
That did not work. Now, when they took him out on the street, he was a weaver. He could not stay in his lane. And he just hated to drive. So he did not drive. Did he have a driver's license? Yes, he did. They kept asking him if he had his driver's license. No, he did not. It was here at home. There's no reason for him to have it if he did not drive. He checked in with the command using his driver's license. Remember that. He used his driver's license to check into the command. And then he mailed it home. But anyway, they wanted him, Bros, noticed that he wasn't a duty driver. Well, Brandon did all the shit work since he didn't drive. So he did not stand duty driver. That is correct. He did not. He did not drive. Trust me. You did not want to drive with Brandon.
That boy needed some practice. Down a dirt road.
Exactly. Yeah. God, he hated driving, and I don't understand why. But anyway, so what they did is Bros asked him if he had his driver's license, and Brandon said no. Okay, do you have your driver's license? Brandon has one. He didn't have it. So Brandon said no. And Bros said, Brandon said, my parents have it. And Bros told Brandon to tell us to send it. And Brandon texted us. We found it. And we had it in an envelope ready to mail the next day. And next thing we know, we're getting a text from Brandon saying they went on the Arizona Department of Motor Vehicle website using a government computer looking for a personal driver's license of Brandon's. And Doug D'Alessandro, who was, I don't know if he was a senior chief or whatever. We found out he was an INSIG, which means he was going to become an officer. So he apparently was from Arizona. So he went on to the Arizona website and asked Brandon if he had a credit card. And Brandon goes, I don't have a credit card. And he said, well, do you have a bank card? And he says, yeah, I have my bank card. And he goes, well, you need to go get it. So Brandon went and got his wallet, and D'Alessandro grabbed his wallet without his permission, searched his wallet until he found his bank card, his ATM card, and proceeded to purchase Brandon's driver's license. Granted, it was only $12, but it was the idea. He stole his credit card. He stole money from Brandon. He did not need buy another driver's license because we were sending it to him.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to have to pay for a duplicate driver's license, you have to change the address. And of course, what do you think happened? Doug D'Alessandro changed Brandon's address to the command's address, not to Brandon's address in Norfolk, but to the command's.
That's weird.
It's illegal.
That's really, yeah.
All of the violations. HIPAA, Brandon was a organ donor. He didn't need to know that. His social security number, his driver's license number, that's all privacy. So, we're like, well, did you give him it? And Brandon's, texting us, no, I did not give him permission, blah, blah, blah. So, another thing that they tried to do with Brandon was, Brandon was leaving the command. He had orders to go air crewman. In order to get out of that command, Brandon came up with smart, came up with an idea to go air crewman. And the reason he went air crewman and not SEALs again was because he knew that the command would not allow him to go back to SEALs. But since they have air crewmen at the command, they would allow him to do that. So when Rose was deployed on debt, he got this package through. And he got orders to leave that command on February what? 18th? February 18th of 2018. He had orders. He was leaving. He was like, yay. Well, in September, he fell off of his bicycle because he rode his bicycle to work every day with his weight vest. No, not his weight vest. With he carried his backpack full of stuff every day, and he fell off right in front of the command and broke his collarbone. Well,
God.
They canceled his orders.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, you're done. And they promised Brandon, okay, we're going to cancel that. But when you're fit for full duty, you will be leaving in 2 weeks. So when Brandon was fit for duty, and I believe it was March something, 28th or something like that, Brandon went to Spence, the counselor, Navy counselor, NC1, and told him, I am fit for full duty, I'm ready to leave. And Spence told him, you have to do the entire package over. He's like, what? But you said, he goes, no, we have to do the whole package over. So when Brandon was on light limited duty, I got to speed this up here, he was on track to get what they call the plane captain. And the plane captain, from what I understand, is the ones that stand in front of the plane with the little things and, corrects the planes. And he was like, what was it, like maybe 85% complete with that. But when Brandon was on light limited duty, it went back to zero. The computer reset itself. So Brandon had to start all over. Well, when Brandon was fit for full duty, this Rose character told him that he had to be ready, board ready in 2 weeks. Well, this qualification takes 6 months to get. Brandon had to start all over. And they told him, you have 180 days. It says so on his eval, 180 days. So Brandon was like, okay, I have 180 days. That's great. I can do that. Well, Rose wanted him to be done 2 weeks. And he had to, there's a lot to it. I guess they have to sign off on it. They have to, do testing and blah, blah, blah. Well, anyway, Brandon was not board ready. So he got in trouble. They were going to they gave him a counseling, they call it a CHIT, C-H-I-T, a counseling CHIT for malingering because he was not getting his qualifications. So they put him also on EMI, which is extra military instruction. So he had to work 2 hours extra every night to work on his qualifications. And keep in mind, too, another thing that I skipped. Brandon was rated a rated electrician. He never once worked in his rating, not 1 second. The minute he got to that command, he was sent to the G-Dunk, and the G-Dunk is a kind of like a candy store, we'll call it.
Uh-huh.
And even if everybody is supposed to
What
do
a
that,
waste.
it is, right? We spent, and I'm not kidding you, taxpayers spent $350,000 for Brandon to go to school.
Yeah.
He comes to that command and works in the G-Dunk.
Because of somebody's ego.
Yep.
We all paid $300,000 for your son to get to work in the G-Dunk when he was an electrician.
Yep, he was a rated electrician, aviation electrician.
Hey, how do you guys feel about that? Anyone? I mean,
anybody's watching.
oh, there's people watching.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And to top it all off, Heather, Brandon was not the only one in the G-Dunk. They had 4 people in that G-Dunk. 4 people, and it's a small little store.
Yeah, why do you need...
4 people. So
They're just trying to mess with him.
Yep.
This...
Go ahead.
No, I'm just thinking about, from the very moment he got there. This, they're just trying to derail him. It's just somebody to pick on.
Exactly. He was nice. Yeah, that's
I mean, really, adults do that?
Well, apparently at HSC 28 in Norfolk, Virginia, they do.
Well, I mean, I teach elementary school, and it sounds like stuff that I have to deal with on a daily basis in an elementary school.
Like
Grown adults are really doing this. I mean, I've talked to veterans who say, this isn't the Army that I know. This isn't the Navy that I remember.
Yep. Exactly.
And it's because of crap like that.
Yep. Exactly. So anyway, this poor kid went through a lot, especially his last week alive. So I'm going to jump to that day. I don't know if I'm supposed to say the S word, but I'm going to anyway.
Do it.
So on June 25th, Brandon turned 21, May 25th, 2018. He came home on leave. Was he different? Yes, he was. But by the time he was, ready to leave, of course, he did not want to leave, and we knew this, but his home is his safe place. So on June 25th, 1 month after his 21st birthday, he, I guess he over the weekend, he wrote letters, and he wrote, a couple to us and 3 of his friends there at the command, and gave them, and they were girls, they were lesbian, not that, it didn't matter to Brandon, he obviously liked them, but, so he left them letters, and their letters are longer than ours, by a lot. And he left them little trinkets that he made, because he made these, he had these metal kits that he put together. He was very good at putting them together, and so he left those for them, and Patrick called the command that morning, talked to the command master chief, the real one, David Tokarski. He was an idiot. Still is, actually. But
hadn't changed.
So
I know a few of those on the Army side.
He called him and talked to him, and he called him as a concerned father for the well-being and welfare of his son. He was not calling as a retired Navy senior chief. So this Tokarski guy told him that, that he was arguing with Patrick about how Brandon was claustrophobic, and if he just went to medical and claimed he was claustrophobic, all of Brandon's problems would go away. We're like, what? So Tokarski told Patrick, look, I have somebody in my office. Let me call you back in 10 minutes. So we're waiting, and he finally calls back 30 minutes later, and Patrick is on the phone with this idiot, again, going round and round about Brandon going to medical claiming he is claustrophobic. Patrick's like, he is not claustrophobic.
He was in the SEAL training.
I'm sorry?
I said he was in the SEAL training. How would he be claustrophobic?
Exactly.
Like, are you kidding me? I mean, dum-dum. Do you think we're all falling for that line?
I'm telling you, these people are stupid.
Dum-dums.
Yes.
They think we're the dum-dums.
Yes.
Bless their souls. Really?
So, as he's talking the second time with Tokarski, somebody interrupts Tokarski, walks into his or opens the door, and Patrick can't hear the other end. Whoever's talking to Tokarski, and Tokarski's like, what? Can you repeat that? And then he said, I gotta go. That was the moment Brandon died.
Yeah.
Patrick was on the phone. I'm sorry. Patrick was on the phone trying to help Brandon. And this asshole, what we found out later, in between the two calls, this guy went down, I guess, to the hangar, I don't know what they call it, and proceeded to berate and yell at Brandon. And we think that's why he did what he did. So after this berating, Brandon went out on the flight line and told someone that he was hungry because he hadn't eaten anything. So this other sailor told Brandon, okay, go get a sandwich and I'll cover you until you get back. Well, Brandon, this is us trying to piece it together.
Yeah.
Went in, and obviously he didn't eat. Somebody told us that he was on his phone talking to Patrick, because that's what they were told by the command, and Brandon we did not talk to Brandon through the phone. We texted him. He texted us back. And again, while Patrick was on the phone, I get this text from Brandon. My last text from him was, just know that I love you, and that was it. And so anyway, that afternoon, because it was 12:30 our time, 3:30 Virginia time, he went in, grabbed his cranial, which is a protective headgear that they wear out on the flight line, And I don't know if he ran or walked up to the plane captain, you know, the one with the things, and told her that he went up to her and said, "I'm sorry for what you are about to see." And she, you know, I'm sure she was confused. Like, what? So then he proceeds to run to the rear tail rotor that was obviously spinning because they were launching a helo. So, sorry. He,
Take your time.
So he throws his cranial off. He jumps. Misses. He misses. And jumps again. Making contact with the blade. Who does that? He was 21 years old. Who does that?
He was, you said it. He died in that moment.
Not one person ran.
Yeah.
Not one person ran to stop him from jumping. No one ran to him.
He
when
jumped.
they realized where he was going.
Yeah.
And when it happened, everybody just ran. There was no checking to see if he was actually alive. I vision it almost every second of my day. I think I would have ran too. But like Patrick says, that flight line crew should have done something.
He jumped 2 times.
Anything. But they didn't. They just, and you know, when Brandon kept saying, nobody likes me, everybody hates me, yeah, well, I guess they did. Nobody liked you because nobody even tried to stop you.
Mm-hmm. Well, and they kept trying to just sabotage him every chance they got.
Exactly.
How do you make somebody feel like they're worthless?
Right. And
just ask the United States Navy.
Right. Now, I think the reason Brandon did what he did and how he did it, he sent a statement.
Yes, he did.
Not only to his command, but to the entire armed forces.
Yep.
That was his statement. And the statement was toxic, abusive leadership and abusive power has got to go away.
Yes.
So we all know that Brandon was treated poorly, right? We know that. And now you would think that the command would treat the family with respect. We just lost our only son, our only child. And they disrespected us just as bad as they disrespected my son. There are things that I don't even know how they can live with. I really don't. Obviously, when they called the casualty assistant guys, and they're from here in, they're Navy chiefs, but they're attached to, oh my gosh, my mind went blank, the Air Force here in Phoenix here. When they were called to tell us about Brandon, the command told them that Brandon was actually alive and in the hospital. Really?
What?
Yes. They did.
They told you guys?
No. The command told the CACOs the casualty assistant officers to tell us that. They were on their way to tell us that Brandon was alive and in the hospital. That is what they were coming to tell us. And then they did a search. I'm assuming they did a search. And they found a little news snippet where it said there was a mishap at the Norfolk Naval Base and that the sailor was deceased. Remember, they were on their way to our house to tell us Brandon was alive and in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
They pulled over, called the command. The command argued with them they said it must have been 10 minutes. You need to tell the family that Brandon is alive and in the hospital. And they're like, but if this is Brandon, who is deceased, I cannot do that. The command is like, yes, you have to. And they're like, is Brandon dead? Well, eventually they said yes. But you need to tell them that he's alive and in the hospital. And they said, no. The family deserves to know the truth. So when they came to our house, and we did not know that happened until the next day. We had cameras. And yes, we obviously lost touch with Brandon that day. We were texting him crazy.
Of course. God bless. Oh, God. Oh, Teri. Oh, Teri.
Our doorbell rings. And we look at the cameras and we are just like...
Oh, God. Ugh.
We knew. And
yeah.
We opened the door and we said, they said, may we come in? And we're like, no, you're not allowed in. You can't come in. No, you're not coming in. And they said, look, we have to talk to you. And we're like, no, you need to go. You just need to go. And they're like, no, I don't, we can't talk out here. So reluctantly we let them in, and of course they say the standard. We regret to inform you. And I know you know what that feels like. And we were like, of course we're all in denial, right?
Yeah.
So Patrick gets on the phone and actually calls the commanding officer. The CACOs are still here. Casualty assistant guys are still here. And Patrick calls the commanding officer, and Patrick at the time, Patrick said, this all has to do with a driver's license? You killed my son over a driver's license? And of course, the CO didn't say anything. And then they had a bad connection, and the CO goes, I need you to hang up and call me back. He didn't even have the decency to call Patrick back. Patrick had to. So our CACOs were so very nice. They stayed with us.
Yeah.
And just to let you know, too, when they came, it was about 6:30, 6:40 our time.
AM or PM?
PM?
I guess PM, huh?
And it would have been, 9:30 in Norfolk. And we would not know this until, several months later, that Brandon was still on the flight line at that time. The person, that's what, 6.5 hours, 7 hours?
By the time they got to you, he was still on the flight line?
Yes, ma'am. He sure was.
The casualty assistance team was sitting in front of you, and your son was still laying on that tarmac?
Yes, he was.
That is an outrage!
Isn't it?
That is an outrage! I'm like, I've heard that you said that before, but not to that degree. Like, they're sitting in front of you, and he's still laying there, and those guys have the audacity to tell you that he is in the hospital?
They wanted them to tell us he was alive and in the hospital, yes. Thank God our casualty assistant officers were on it.
They did the right thing.
Yes, they did.
They represented the Navy well in that moment.
But
yes.
they were Air Force.
Yes, and
Oh, but they were Air Force?
Isn't that what you
No?
said?
No, they're Navy.
They were Navy, but they're attached to the Air Force.
Okay.
I can't remember I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yes, and how we know this is one of the sailors who was tasked with taking out the garbage for the day. That sailor saw him on the flight line at 9:30.
Oh!
That sailor went in and reminded them that he was still out there. She said, I reminded them. It was like they didn't even care. Of course they didn't care.
I just can't believe it.
So
Oh my God, I'm just speechless on that. Oh my gosh.
she, or not she, but one of the FOIAs I requested was the e-casualty report. And the e-casualty report tells you exactly what, what the I call them the EMTs, what they did. Well, they arrived at like 3:40 in the afternoon. And this is what it says. They took him in an unknown condition to an unknown facility. And he died in the ambulance in the parking lot of that facility. That is what our e-casualty report says.
I just don't see how that can even be possible if someone saw him on the flight line at 9:30.
Exactly.
I just, like, there are...
Yeah.
I mean...
No words.
Yeah.
No words. So we knew he left letters, and Patrick was like, I want to read the letter. I want to at least read ours. And they're like, no, you can't. It's part of the investigation. And Patrick was like, he played a card he never thought would work. He said, now, we plan on burying our son. What if his wishes are different than what we are doing? Lo and behold, the very next day, we had NCIS from Yuma coming with a copy of our letter. And I can read his letter if you want me to. I won't read the whole thing, but it's up to you if you want to.
I would love to hear it if you would read it. But if you want to, I mean, I can handle it.
Okay.
Can you guys handle it?
So, it says, Dear Mom and Dad, I'm sorry for putting you through all of this. I love you both so much, all caps. Words cannot express how much I love you. thank you for everything you have done for me. You guys were the greatest. I'm just so tired of living like this. We have to do so much for the smallest detail to be right and have a chance at a good future for me. No, I'm done. Everything I worked for was gone in a moment's glance. I didn't have the motivation or drive for anything. I just felt empty and useless to myself. There's no way I would have finished school, which is probably true. I want to be cremated and have my ashes spread on top of our mountain. I want to watch over you two.
Oh my goodness. Oh God.
I want to see as many people as possible fired, kicked out, or at the very least lose rank. I do not, all caps and boxed, I do not want a military funeral. I've suffered enough. I have done nothing in the military to be proud of. Ruin these people's lives as much as they ruined mine. While you're at it, attack the rewrite process, because if that change to any rate somebody qualifies for based on ASVAB, not as many people in the future will suffer the fate I have.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, Brandon. Dodos.
I know, right?
He's calling them all idiots.
They are idiots.
They are.
They're unbelievably stupid. I couldn't ask for better parents. I love you both equally. Thank you for everything. I love you. With love, your son. And then he kind of, I guess, we think parts of his letter is gone because there's, it sounds like that was the end, but then there's another, I guess, letter, but it doesn't say dear. So I'm assuming, and we assume that there's a lot missing that we don't have. It says, this one says, thank you for everything you taught me. It was just my time. I want this depression to be over. And let's be honest, it was never going to go away. It's not your fault. There's nothing you could have said or done to talk me out of doing this. I love you. But I just hated where I was going. I was done. I was tired of just everything. Never forget, I loved you both. It was the Navy's fault, not, I repeat, not yours, all caps. I guess this is goodbye. I love you, your son. I wish there was more time. That was his letter. Now you tell me that it wasn't the Navy's fault. It wasn't that command's fault. They drove him to die by suicide.
Yeah.
With their toxic, abusive climate. And nobody did a darn thing.
And it started in SEAL training. In that moment that they made him, that they rang that bell for him,
Yes.
his dreams were that crushed his dreams.
Yeah.
He could have gone back and done that. You can't make somebody pick somebody's arm up and say ding,
Right.
and then, oh, we're good, he's out. No, that's
Right.
against the law, right? I mean,
It is.
like, seriously.
Yes. Yes.
And then, like, all of the things, they treated him like a dog. Like an absolute dog.
Yes.
Like, worse than a dog. Like, I mean, we treat dogs better than the way they treated him.
Well,
Honestly.
If you treated
Exactly.
a dog like that,
And
you would be.
If you treated a dog like that, you would be arrested
That's right.
and
Yes.
charged.
Yes. Yes.
The Navy treated Brandon, well, the toxic abusive leadership, that chain of command, whoever they are, care to say. But anyway, they treated Brandon like a dog.
Yep. Worse than a dog.
Worse than a dog. Sorry. Yes, worse than a dog.
That's okay. I mean, I'm just putting words in your mouth.
No, I'm just, my brain is so puzzled and overworked right now with thinking about, I wake up every day and I'm like, am I really in this world? Is this the world that I grew up in and I know? This is insanity.
Isn't it?
This is insanity. We treat our patriots. They sign their lives away for this country, for the red, white, and blue.
I'm so proud to do it.
And so proud to do it. Like Caleb and Brandon, they were so patriotic. I think about Brandon. He was always wanting to be a Navy SEAL. Actually, Caleb started out wanting to be a Navy SEAL, which is so sweet. He wanted to be a Navy SEAL, and then he went through all the different branches looking around. But there was this cute little redhead whose mom just happens to be on here right now. And he just was like, oh, Casey.
I think Army's the best place for me.
And so, yeah. He switched over to the Army. Sorry. Then he wanted to be a Ranger.
Brandon.
Airborne.
Brandon was going to do the same thing. He was going to get out of the Navy when his time was up and join the Army.
Wow.
As a beret.
Wow. That would have been tremendous.
And they killed him.
Yeah.
They flat out killed him. Now,
Wouldn't allow you on base.
I'm sorry?
Wouldn't allow you on base.
Yes, I was just going to get to that.
Okay.
They had a memorial service for Brandon that we were not invited to. And when I say we were not invited, we were not invited. The Keikos are the ones that's supposed to schedule everything, and they didn't know that they were going to have one. And not only, and I learned this through a FOIA, not only were we not invited, Dwayne Whitmer, who is the commanding officer, requested extra security at Norfolk Naval Base and gave our names to the gate guard so that we would be turned away if we showed up. And my husband obviously is 22-year Navy veteran who has every right to be on any base as long as he's in good standing, and of course he is. And as a spouse, I'm allowed on any base in the world. And I learned this through a FOIA when I requested. They actually did not redact that. So that is a fact.
I love how the things that they redact and they don't redact. And it makes them look like idiots.
Yep.
Half the time. I'm like, really? Did a second grader write this? Really?
When I was reading that,
In the speech?
I was like, what? Did I just read that? Yeah, he criticized his ears. He did.
What?
Yeah. I need to pull that and put it on my website. Yeah, he disrespected him at his memorial service.
Yeah, you need to put that on.
And we remember Brandon died by suicide.
Mm-hmm.
We did not get his body back for what, 2 weeks? They kept his body for 2 weeks.
Yep.
And people who die overseas come back faster than Brandon did.
They were telling us 3 weeks. They were telling me and my family 3 weeks. Mm-hmm.
And the congressman.
And our congressman, thank God, was able to get him here sooner.
Oh, good.
But yeah.
Yeah, they held up Brandon's body. They told us, well, our casualty assistant officers said that Brandon on June 27th was in Dover for the autopsy. And we now know that he was in Norfolk for 4 days and then flown to Dover. And then the medical examiner stepped in, which delayed the autopsy. And then I read where the FBI stepped in on the autopsy, which also delayed it. And we don't know why. We don't know if the person who actually did the autopsy was new, and that's why the head medical examiner stepped in, but we have no idea why the FBI came in.
What I don't understand is why they flew him there. I mean, I don't know. It's just that it was different in Caleb's case. Caleb went to, for some reason, and I couldn't understand this either, a civilian mortuary off base. They put my son's body in a civilian mortuary off base, and somebody from Dover came out and did the autopsy there. But I'm hearing that they flew Brandon to Dover.
Yeah.
I wonder why they do things so differently in different cases like this.
It is. Dover is real close to Norfolk.
Okay. So it was more convenient, I guess.
So during the time that we were waiting for Brandon, you have to fill out all this paperwork.
Yep.
Another thing that the command did, and I'm blaming Tokarski because according to Patrick, he would have been the one. The Bureau, which is Big Navy, and that's what Patrick calls them, Big Navy, is based out of Millington, Tennessee. Well, they forward all of this paperwork via email. And what they are supposed to do is populate, like, Brandon's name, his rank, the address, and, all the normal stuff that they have. And then all we are supposed to do is sign the paperwork. Well, Tokarski kept telling them that he didn't receive it. So then, and this went on for, God, it must have been a week. And finally, he checked his spam folder, and it was there. And we're like, I told the Keiko guy, the one that came, I said, that's not true. Because it's coming from the Bureau. If it's coming from the Bureau of the Navy,
it's not going to be in his spam.
Would it go to spam? It wouldn't. So that paperwork never got filled out. So what was supposed to take less than 15 minutes took 3 hours because I had to fill out everything. And that. And Heather, I don't know if you filled this out, but there was a piece of paper that asked me if we wanted to keep Brandon in Norfolk until all of his parts were found, or if we wanted him home right away. And of course, I'm like, there's no way he's going to want to stay there until all. And I asked the guy, I said, is there any chance that all of him is going to come back? Knowing his answer, he said no. And I'm like, well, no, he needs to come home. He needs to come home. So that was, I don't know if you filled that out, something like that, or if it was because of the way Brandon died. And to bring you back to that day, you would think that the command would request like a hazmat crew to come out and clean up after what happened.
Yeah,
that didn't happen. The command next door cleaned it up. And we heard that, you know, they were finding, like this one sailor found his ear, and they didn't give them, you know, bags or anything to put his.
God. God
So
bless.
he picks up Brandon's ear and he goes, what am I supposed to do with this? And they didn't have an answer, and he put it in his pocket because there was nothing else to do with it but to put it in his pocket. So those poor people, those poor sailors had to clean up after Brandon. They didn't even bring anybody professionally in to clean it up. And through the FOIA, I had to laugh at this. Apparently, Brandon did damage to the propeller. I honestly, I giggled. I'm like,
Yeah, big shocker. He jumped twice.
Yeah.
He got more momentum on the second time.
Yes.
When you guys could have jumped in there and pulled him out of that situation.
Yeah. So,
See if somebody jumps for you. See if somebody jumps out there to save your life. What goes around comes around.
Exactly. So when Brandon finally got to come home, you know, they have somebody from the command escort the body home, and it usually, and this is Patrick saying it, it's usually a friend of Brandon's or somebody who knows Brandon very well. Well, they sent this officer. He was a pilot, didn't even know Brandon, and his name is Sky Baber. Oh my God, I'll never forget it. He came up, you know, said his stupid condolences. It's not stupid, but it is. Patrick said he wanted answers, and the guy said there's going to be a JAGMAN investigation, and you will be talked to. And that's what the CO said to Patrick that day when on June 26th, when the casualty assistant officers came and told us. And so when Brandon was at this officer, this Sky Baber, asked our the person who drives the hearse, my mind is blank, asked if he could ride with her. She said, you know, I brought another person, you know, because she was going to film it. She did film it for us. And she goes, I don't have room for you. And he got all mad. He was livid. So she apologized because she didn't know. And so she took Brandon to the funeral home. And of course, in his letter, Brandon said he did not want a military funeral. So that told us he did not want to be buried in his uniform. So we told her the minute she gets him there, she is to change him into his favorite two-piece suit. And that's what she did. And she changed him before this officer, Sky Baber, got there. When he got there, he said, I need to inspect his uniform. And she opened the casket, and he's like, where's his uniform? He's supposed to be in uniform. And she goes, well, had I known he was supposed to be in his uniform for you to check, I would have kept him in there and then changed him. She said the family does not want him buried in his uniform. He goes, I have to inspect the uniform. And she goes, the uniform is right there, folded very neatly on the chair. You can inspect it there.
I would just love to be a fly on the wall, just to see his face.
Me too.
Just to see his face.
I wish she would have recorded it.
Sorry, guys.
Well,
Can't be nice about this stuff anymore, folks.
I know, right?
at
So
least.
we're at the funeral home for the funeral. It's the color guard is there. Everybody is there. Except for Sky Baber.
Bless his soul.
He was supposed to hand Patrick the flag. Since there's the female, the lead color guard was a female. She was supposed to hand me the flag off of his coffin, and Sky Baber, the one who escorts him home, was supposed to hand Patrick another flag. He was not there, and the color guard, and I don't know her name, was asking Patrick if we know where he was, and we're like, no. So she asked the funeral home director, and she's like, he is supposed to be here. I don't know where he's at. So she calls the command, and the command is like, oh, he came home. He's home. He left that day. When Brandon arrived and he got mad, he left. And she's
Point
sitting
in
there
case. I mean, what more do you guys need to know?
He's supposed to hand the flag to Patrick, and they're like, well, he's home. You'll just have to find somebody else. And she's like, fine, whatever. Thank God, one of Brandon's friends, who we did not know, she was and remember, this was dead in the summertime here in Phoenix. The color guard was in their whites, and she was in her dark, her dark uniform. And they asked her if she could step in, and she's like, I've never done it before. So they practiced, and it was hard for her because when you're close
to the family. Yeah.
Well, and she never knew us, but she knew Brandon. She loved Brandon. And you cannot show any emotion when you're doing that. She said that was the hardest. Not only was his death hard, but standing up there.
And then having to offer the flag.
To Patrick, she said she broke. She broke. And I don't blame her. And I would have too. The good thing is we still talk to her today. So thank God she agreed to step in. If she didn't, I don't know what they would have done. I guess just gotten somebody else from the honor guard to do it. But that idiot left. And then
That coward left.
Yeah.
You want to talk about going AWOL, folks? He left his duty. disrespected a gold star mother, a son, a young man, a patriot that gave his entire life to this nation. She gave her only child, her only son, just for the gentleman that escorted his body home,
And
for him to just run away with his tail between his legs just because Brandon didn't want to wear a uniform.
Yeah.
And what appalled me, Heather, is this. The commander was okay with that.
And the commander was okay with that.
That is
Just like
disgusting.
he's okay with the letter.
Just like he
Yeah.
was okay with the letter. Now, where is this commander? Where are these people?
Well, I can tell you,
It's
Whitmer
disgusting.
is in, he's a trainer. I don't know what kind of trainer, so that is a demotion, I guess, in Maryland. Tokarski, the command master chief, retired.
How convenient. Full retirement, I'm sure, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Pete Lorette retired, the one that was spitting on Brandon. He retired.
Another one. Full retirement. Probably just kicking his heels up. Mm-hmm.
Bros, after the incident, after Brandon's death, he was overheard making derogatory comments about Brandon and his death. So the command chose not to take him to court-martial because that would allow him to stay in the command longer. So they chose to move him to the wing, working where the Commodore works. So he got nothing.
So
He was just
demoted.
moved. He got nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And come to find out, he now, well, he's been at his new command for quite some time. He was moved in a different command, but the same position. So he's still a leading petty officer.
Wow.
And we were told that he was bragging about driving one of his sailors to suicide, which was Brandon. And he is still toxic and abusive. He learned nothing from this. Nothing.
He learned that he could get away with it. He learned that there's a culture of it at this point, and he can just get away with whatever he wants to.
You got it.
And he also saw all those other guys who got to go on retirement and have full retirement. By the way, those guys are out here now with us.
Yep.
They're in civilian land now.
Yep. And, get this too. 3 weeks prior to Brandon's death, they had a suicide in a sister squadron in Norfolk, Virginia. No stand down, no training was done. The day before Brandon died, a pilot, and I know this because they did not redact this pilot's name in the FOIA that I requested, died by suicide the day before Brandon died. And no stand down. A stand down means they just nothing is running. They shut down for, however long and do suicide training. That did not happen. If that happened, Brandon would be alive today. If
They didn't even follow their own protocol on what you're supposed to do when someone does commit suicide. Then there's some sort of we all get together and have some sort of a meeting about it, or
thing.
okay.
Yeah, none of that happened. And the Commodore, and he's African American. He's a Commodore in a retired. He retired. Why? Why did he retire? And now I found out that he is in San Diego, head director of safety.
Safety
Director
Of safety.
of the Pacific Fleet in San Diego.
Good luck, guys.
That's exactly what I said.
Good luck.
And he's a civilian, obviously. And I know they had, last year, I think San Diego had, I know of at least 3 suicides they had. Yeah, it's a freaking mess. And the treatment that Brandon received was then put on us. We've been disrespected.
Mm-hmm.
And it continues. I'm sure I'm missing a lot of stuff, but it's so the toxic abusive leadership and their abusive power not only goes to their sailors or soldiers or airmen or the Marines. I think they're still called soldiers too. It gets passed on to the families, the grieving Gold Star families, and they take advantage of our grief.
Okay. I just thought of something. I was just thinking about what you're saying, and like, Caleb died of neglect and negligence and neglect, and like they said, it was going to take 3 weeks for him to get home, and then it took 6 months to get his belongings. So 6 whole months, and that, to me, that's neglect too.
Yeah.
And now I'm dealing with the funeral home here in Lubbock, who's neglecting us after we've paid a bunch of money for a memorial, and they've neglected us. They didn't even order it. They sure did cash the check, but it's like this pattern of neglect the whole way through, and I just can't help but feel neglected. And the same thing with you. It's like a pattern of something, and it kind of goes over into the family. We catch the brunt of it.
Right. And we're grieving. And that's one thing I didn't forget is his belongings. The way we received his belongings was atrocious. They treated his belongings like garbage. And when I say that, they did not pack anything. What it looked like to us is you put a bunch of stuff on a table and you swish it into a box.
They just thrown in there.
Yeah.
From the pictures you showed me, it looked like the boxes were smashed in, and and they weren't even like, they were literally like, guys, you wouldn't use a box like this to send anything to anybody. Like, the boxes themselves were almost destroyed, and they were all taped up, and then everything, like she said, it looked just like somebody had raked all of everything into one box.
Yeah, and there were several boxes. They took no care in his belongings whatsoever.
And I'm sure they just picked clean whatever they wanted, because that seems to be kind of what happened in Caleb's case too. There's things I still don't have that,
exactly.
I know that he had.
Yep.
And things came broken, like a brand new PlayStation. Brand new. The kid had been there for 7 weeks and 4 days, and he has a broken PlayStation and missing controllers and things like that. I mean, come on, people. How stupid do you think I am?
Well, and in Brandon's things, they threw his wallet in there, and we looked at his wallet, and there were like $5 bills, and we're like, oh, wow, that's kind of weird. So we set them aside. Well, when we finally got through with going through his belongings, Patrick picked them up and was going to, deposit them. And he's looking at them, and they're fake. So we think somebody took his money and replaced it with these fake $5 bills.
Like, real, that's funny. What a funny joke that was.
I know.
Like you needed that. This is just another slap in the face.
Exactly. And his boxes, they were open and closed at least 10 times. There were 10 strips of tape. And it does look like they went through them multiple times trying to find something. And we don't know what that is. But his belongings were horribly packed. His TV, they didn't have any packing material in there at all. It was just a box, and the stand was poking out of the box. And we are very lucky that didn't break. It was horrible. And I do have to say that the command did give us a gift, and I'm sure whoever thought of it thought it was a good idea. They, everybody wrote their name and something on this item, and I'm sure they thought they were doing it as a kind gesture. But the gift they gave us was his cranial that he tossed before he jumped.
Oh my God. Oh, no. Oh, no. How can you... No, Teri, I'm going to say something here. You're being way too nice about that.
I don't know how else to be.
That is... Let me just tell you, that is a jaw-dropping... They're going to... Oh, whoa. Who would do that?
And who would want
What an obvious slap in the face. That is just like... We're going to punch you in the gut, then we're going to stab you, then we're going to pull out your eyes, and then we're going to cut out your tongue, and we might bash in your mouth and pull out your teeth. Really? You're going to give this mother a cranial that he... Okay. And I'll sign it? Really? That's a good idea? You think that's a good idea? Oh, I'm sorry, Teri. I'm sorry. I apologize. I lost my mind.
I get it. I know we were shocked. We were shocked. I mean,
what did you do with it? Do you have it?
Yes.
I don't know how you feel about that.
We have it more for proof than anything.
Okay.
My husband wanted to get rid of it.
How did your husband see that? Like honestly, what was his reaction when they gave that to you as a gift?
Oh, he was livid.
Okay. So I am on the right track there. I mean, that is okay.
We both were. We both were mad.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they were thinking. I really don't. You could tell it was the same one because it had scratches on it, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And then, some of, very few, have come forward and have said that's the exact one.
Mm-hmm.
They were proud to say it. And the command was proud to say that they were sending us a gift. And we're like, oh, well, all right, whatever.
I have something to say.
Oh, hold on just a second. Go ahead, Mom.
Okay. They can pick up the cranial. Is that what you call it?
Yes.
But they can't pick up his body.
Right.
I'm sorry.
For almost 7 hours.
That blows me away.
Yeah.
Guys, this mother is sitting in her living room while the casualty assistance team is telling her that her son is deceased, and her son is still laying on the tarmac.
6 7 hours later.
7 hours later, while they're telling her, why is he still laying there? Why is his body still laying there?
That's what I'd like to know.
And a young, lady or whoever, right, had to remind them. Oh yeah, Brandon, the guy that jumped into the helicopter blades, and died, 6 hours ago. He's still laying out there.
Yeah.
Just letting you know.
Exactly.
While they're letting her know.
Yep.
That he has taken his own life.
And wanting to lie to her.
And wanting to lie to her and tell her that he was in the hospital. They asked the casualty assistance team to lie to this mother and say that their son was in a hospital, still alive. When the fact of the matter is that he's still laying on the ground, on the tarmac.
In the middle of the summer.
In the middle of the summer.
25th of, was it June? June
25th.
June 25th.
It was hot.
It was hot.
What time of day did this start out? Probably 3 o'clock in the afternoon or something like that? Is that what you said?
3:30 is when he died.
Okay. So from 3:30 to 9:30.
9:30, yeah. 9:40, yeah.
He's laying there. They're already in Arizona letting the family know that he is deceased. And he's still laying there on the ground.
That he was in the hospital.
And I'm sorry. I just keep having to repeat this to myself. Why are we not outraged, folks? Anybody out there? Hey, you guys, are y'all out there? You there? Anyone? Come on. Let's hear some comments here.
Yeah. Oh, and another thing, they were very proud to say he was put in a white body bag. Not a black one, but a white body bag.
I don't even know what to do with myself anymore after listening to this. It just keeps getting more. Talk about insult to injury. Just insult after insult after insult.
Yeah. Yeah. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Let's see. Teri, I don't know. Are you watching the live right now on your end?
No.
There's just lots of there's a lot of comments. I wish you could see all the comments. There's just too many to read. Because people have been commenting this whole time, just with their own shock and.
I didn't think everybody would.
Oh yeah. Thank you, Bull 52772. Help our troops be strong and courageous in tasks that are before them today. Absolutely, we 100% agree with you on that. Jonathan, this is Eddie says there are some toxic NCOs out there.
Some?
Yeah, there are some. There are some. We've heard a lot about those lately.
And we need to pray.
Jonathan says rank goes to their head. They wanted him to get. Yeah, they wanted him to get. They wanted him to be. And he says there's leadership like that everywhere.
There is. And every command is like that.
Mm-hmm.
We have to reiterate that.
Mm-hmm.
See, I don't don't have all the comments.
Let's see. I think this one was we were talking about the why the Air Force came in and did that. It says that they're being borrowed to do a different branch to do a casualty job.
No, it was 2 casualty officers from the Navy.
Okay.
They just were stationed on
Oh, got it. Which is the closest place to you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's
Or
what I
Navy
didn't
men.
understand.
Brandon did not die in vain, but of broken soul. This world is not the one we grew up in.
No, it
They
isn't.
broke his mind, and no one dared to at least give him a hug and talk to him. And Jonathan, that's why I really appreciate you being the change that we all need to see. Having a heart of justice, just compassion, just human kindness, just basic human brotherhood, right? I mean, like, you guys talk about battle buddies. I mean, why can't your battle buddy be your brother?
Right.
I mean, like it should be, you know? I mean, if you guys are going to war or battle together, I mean, you better know who each other are. Get to know your crew, man. Did anyone else talk to him? His crewmates? Well, you were mentioning that little couple that he wrote letters to, and
Yeah, he wrote to 3 girls. 2 of them were on deployment, and one of them worked at night. The one that was there at the time, she was working at night, so she wasn't there yet. And he, from what we understand from others, is that Brandon was Brandon. That day, he was in a good mood. He talked to everybody. He was obviously nice. It was like the old Brandon, is what they said. And nobody...
But yet behind the scenes, he's texting you, and y'all are having all of this other stuff going on with the command over a damn license.
Yeah, and plane captain not getting his qualification in a timely manner, which he was working on it.
I mean, if they had just let him, I mean, I don't know. God, there's so many things I have to say. Because you said that he was ready to go, and then he broke his collarbone, and then, I mean, they promised him that he would be able to go in 2 weeks or whatever, and then they went back on their word. They lied.
Yes.
And
exactly.
And so then they go, and they're doing it on purpose just to, I mean, why? Golly, why make him go all the way back to the very beginning? Especially after you've already told him that he was good. It's just to torture him
And to go through
Yes.
months of...
and
They had fun torturing him.
yes,
They sure
they did it on purpose. It was obviously very poignant. Let's see here. That command team is not mentally fit to be in the military.
No, they're not.
No, they're not, and they're not representing a good military.
Right. And we learned also that when Whitmer left, Prouty, who was the XO at the time Brandon died, moved into the commanding officer's spot, and the toxic, abusive leadership and abusive power never changed. It was still abusive. And now, since Prouty left, he's still in, from what we understand, a woman took over as commanding officer, and they said, we have been told that she is just as bad, almost worse
She's got to prove something.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. She's got something to
Bless
prove.
her soul. Oh, God.
She wants to be...
Yep, exactly.
She wants to be a man. I'm sad. Sorry.
She wants to show... Well, she wants to show that she's better than a man.
She wants to show that she's better than a man.
Exactly.
I can be meaner than the men.
Criticizing someone who is dead, ? That is more than enough to know that person is mentally unstable.
Yep.
They're evil.
That's a fact. That is a fact.
The FBI? They saw something weird maybe? ?
But we don't have any records. We can't get them because they don't exist. So we don't know why.
Ah, right.
Yeah, it's just weird.
Oh, yeah, there's so many weird things out there.
We do know that the FBI analyzed his letters, all of them, to, make sure that he wasn't coerced into writing them. And, of course,
Okay.
they came up with that he wasn't coerced. He just wrote them. So we do know that as well. But why the autopsy, we don't know.
When did Brandon write those letters?
We believe, and we were told by at least one of his roommates who were they were not in the command, that he was writing letters all day Sunday.
And how long was that before he? What day was it that he passed away?
It was Monday, June 25.
Okay, so just the night before then.
The day before, yes. And
I wonder what happened. What happened that Friday and Saturday? Is that what happened?
Friday, the command was doing the same crap. That Friday, I think, was when they did all the license crap, or that was Thursday, one of the two. And then Friday, nothing changed. But and just to let everybody know, obviously they did a toxicology on Brandon, and they found that his stomach was completely empty. Did not have any drugs, alcohol, nothing in it, in his body. I know that's what the command was waiting for, because they wanted to blame something, and they were hoping that he took pills or something, and he didn't. And
no, he's trying to prove a point.
Right. In the pictures, of the boxes, there's pill prescriptions on top, and those pill prescriptions, one was for his leg when he broke it, and the other was pain medication for his shoulder, and nothing was missing from those bottles. He never took pain medication, and when he tore his meniscus in his leg, or in his knee in high school football, he didn't take medication either for it.
He had a high degree of pain tolerance. He had a high pain tolerance. So back to when he was at SEAL training, he broke. Let me make sure I have this right. He broke his leg, and
he did.
And he still continued to do the training and everything else, and they kept telling him, "No, we're not going to do an X-ray. No, we're not going to do X-ray." Even when he went 3 times.
Just shin.
Yep.
And they just kept saying it was shin splints, but he broke his leg.
His tibia.
Tibia.
When he went to the 32nd Street after his SEAL training was done, he went to the doctor and begged for an X-ray, and the doctor reluctantly agreed to do one. And he told Brandon don't expect, I'll call you if anything is amiss, but don't expect my call. So within 30 minutes, the doctor was on the phone with Brandon saying, you need to come back here. You have a broken tibia in 2 places, not 1, 2.
Oh, you need to come back here. You need to waddle back here.
He let him walk out.
Not let me help you.
Yep. He walked out and he
All
broke
the
his
while
leg
walking.
in 2 places. And
Was this a civilian doctor or a...
This is not a civilian doctor. This is a doctor on base.
Okay.
correct.
And
Okay.
this is after they have rung the bell for him.
Correct.
Okay.
And that day that they rang the bell for Brandon, 2 hours after that, the SEAL trainers drowned another kid while they were doing something in the pool. The medical examiner ruled it a homicide.
Sounds like hazing to me. It sounds like an intense hazing, like what Brandon went through, and these guys are. I mean, like, do you have to haze people to train them? Is that really what a Navy SEAL needs?
And well, they say yes, but no. When they drowned Loveless, their training eased up tremendously. They also there's one article that states where after Brandon's death that they should put a gold statue of Brandon at the North Island in San Diego because they changed the re-rate process. And the reason they changed it was because of Brandon.
Hell yes!
So it was a pilot. So we don't know if it is still that way, but we are pretty sure that stuck. So we believe that the re-rate process was changed due to Brandon's death, and that is one thing he wanted.
Hallelujah. Well, at least he got one thing he wanted. Those
Right.
bastards still weren't fired, and they didn't lose their jobs. They didn't lose their retirement. They didn't lose anything.
Right.
They get to just walk around with us civilians.
Yep.
Problem
And they
is...
they found those SEALs not guilty of drowning that kid, even though it was ruled a homicide.
You killed him, but you didn't. You did, but you didn't.
Yep, exactly. Exactly.
It's like, it's such a slap in the face, like what they did with Caleb too. I mean, it's like, the whole chain of command should have been held responsible. And honestly, a lot of people should have lost their jobs over Caleb's death. I mean, his death is a negligent homicide and medical malpractice. And the lowest person on the totem pole, so to speak, a specialist, they wouldn't tell me what he got, but I know some folks, and they said that he just went from a specialist to E1. So over negligent homicide, let me say this: they didn't demote that person because they didn't follow orders, which that person did not follow orders to check on Caleb, but they demoted him only because he lied about not checking on Caleb.
And it was...
That's the only reason he was demoted.
And it was just a
Unbelievable.
request. It wasn't...
And it was just what was that, Mom?
Didn't they say that it was... How did they say that it was just kind of a
suggestion?
a suggestion or something?
Well, my mom's talking about that it was a loose order to check on
That's
Caleb.
what it was. Okay.
A loose order.
So it's no big deal.
Of course not. He doesn't show up for what we call it muster.
Morning PT and formation.
And they're not concerned. They're not concerned that one of their fellow...
Not on the 21st they weren't, when he didn't show up to his doctor's appointment. He didn't show up to morning PT or to formation. And the person that was his first line supervisor, instead of going to check on Caleb when he knew he didn't show up to either one of those things, you know where he went? This is in the morning. He goes to work. Later on in the afternoon, around 2 o'clock or so, he goes, well, I guess I better go check on Caleb. He didn't show up for, a doctor's appointment. He didn't show up for formation this morning. I might as well go check on him. He was too decomposed to be viewable. You knew that the second you walked in the door. And putrefaction and mummification of the hands. He'd been there for a while, folks. The room was 71 degrees in the room with a draft. It's written in the CID report, folks. I'm not making this shit up. It's good reading. You really should order it through Foyer.
And his roommates.
And his roommates are spraying Febreze.
Oh my
for
gosh.
3 days.
So I mean. Oh my gosh. So Teri, let's talk about this. Who is this lady? This blue lady. Hey, guys, this is a gold star. This gold star means that you have a soldier that has died in service to their country. This is the gold star they present to us families and say, you're a gold star now. Of course, there's a lot of folks out there that don't think we're gold stars because of how our soldiers died.
Right.
They didn't get to have a choice. Brandon didn't get to have a choice on how he died. He died for a reason. He died with a purpose. Yeah. Brandon sacrificed his life so that people would see the silent battle. The silent world war that's going on in all of our, and many of our soldiers' psyche.
Yep.
All right. So the Brandon Act. By the way, do you see what's written on her forehead? It says warrior. This is a portrait of my beautiful sister, Teri Caserta. She has an act that we're trying to get passed, called the Brandon Act.
Called the Brandon Act.
Yeah.
It's what it is it's just a simplification of what is already out there. The problem is what's already out there is not being used.
Mm-hmm.
So what it does is it gives our service members a safe word to use when they feel they need help. And that's with anything, whether it's bullying, hazing, sexual harassment, sexual assault. If you have a gambling problem, if you have marriage problems or children problems, you name it, you can invoke the Brandon Act. And the Brandon Act will give you anonymity. And when I say that, it doesn't give you as a service member anonymity. It gives the reason you're seeking or you're invoking the Brandon Act anonymity.
Mm-hmm.
We know that people need help. And we know people, sorry. That's Brandon's cat. Nobody needs to know why somebody is going to medical. It's like
Mm-hmm.
a HIPAA violation.
Yes.
And officers get help all the time. Nobody knows it. anybody, but all they have to say is, hey, I have a medical appointment.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, okay, my husband used to do it all the time. He'd leave and nobody would even question. He says, I have a medical appointment, and they're like, okay. And it being upper enlisted, I guess, because he was an E8, a senior chief, they wouldn't question him. But when you're lower rank, they question everything. So you can use, I'm going to medical, twice, possibly 3 times. But they're gonna catch on, and then they're gonna say, why are you going to medical?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if they invoke the Brandon Act, they don't have to tell them. All they have to say is, I have a Brandon issue, and they are supposed to let them go immediately to get whatever they need. If they happen to be diagnosed as suicidal, which is very rare that they are diagnosed with it, then the psychologist or psychiatrist, whichever one, calls the commanding officer, and the commanding officer would only tell the XO, the executive officer, and that's it. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're going to have to tell the service member's chain of command that they're going to be out for a while, but they don't have to tell them why they're out.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes away retaliation. They are not supposed to be retaliated against. That is what it is designed for. We designed the Brandon Act to save service members' lives.
Yes.
We did not name it the Brandon Act because we want recognition for Brandon's death. At the time we named it, we had no other name to call it.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people out there criticize us for naming it after Brandon, but we don't have Brandon's last name in it. It is not the Brandon Caserta Bill Act. It is called the Brandon Act.
Well, the truth of the matter is if he had gotten the help that he needed from the very beginning,
we wouldn't even need this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want to say something. People that are criticizing you, have they lost their child?
No.
Okay, so they have no idea.
I lied.
I'm
did.
sorry.
A lot of Gold Star families are criticizing the fact that we named it the Brandon Act.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But you know what? I think, I don't want to say it's jealousy, but they did not lose their child the way Brandon died. Don't get me wrong. There were a lot of suicides that happened due to toxic abusive leadership and abusive power, because that is rampant in the military.
Mm-hmm.
It is not my fault that they did not come up with something.
That's right.
You did all the hard work too, like all the phone numbers that you called, all the things that you've done to make this I mean, I don't understand why people criticize you for any of that, because that doesn't even make sense to me. To me, it makes sense that it would be the Brandon Act because you put all the work into it.
That's right.
And his story matters, and he sacrificed his life to make people aware of this and to help other people, and he wanted to help even from his death. Even before he died, he wanted his death to have a meaning, and he wanted to help other people.
Right. When we finally got his phone and we looked at his texts, you have no idea how many people he was talking out of dying by suicide in his command.
Oh.
And that is why we came up with the Brandon Act. It's his legacy. Don't get me wrong.
He's like, I'll do it. You stay alive. I'll take this one for everybody. I'll take it for the team.
Yes. And our first version, if you go to my website, you'll see our first version. It was harsh. We wanted accountability. We wanted independent investigations. There's so much that we wanted, and
it had to be whittled down.
I'm sorry?
It had to be whittled down.
Congressman Seth Moulton from Massachusetts said, we can write it like this. The problem is it costs a lot of money to do everything we wanted in the Brandon Act. And when he said that, Patrick and I sat back and said, you know what? We want to save service members' lives. And to do that, this is what we need.
Yeah.
And that's what he wrote. So this act is not for Brandon because he's gone.
That's right.
This
That's
act
right.
is for the current and future service members.
It's for you.
That's right.
It's for you. We love you. We're trying to protect you.
If we also know that if the Brandon Act passes and people use it, their PTSD, when they get out of the military, whether it's 3 years, whether it's 20 years, whether it's 30 years, if they got the help they needed when they needed it, their PTSD would be so much better than what our current veterans have. And our goal is 0.
Yeah.
Not 570, because last year there were 571 suicides in the military. That number includes the Air and Army National Guard and the reservists. 571 active duty service members died in 2020. 400, how many died 2019? I think it was like 428. I don't have the number. If the Brandon Act would have passed last year, like it should have,
We may have been able to save over 500 people's lives.
possibly 571. Now, don't get me
Almost
wrong.
600 people.
Not all, and you know, Heather, not all of those deaths are suicides.
I was just about to say,
Yeah.
if they're really suicides.
We all know.
Oh, yeah.
But you know what? That's the number they're posting. That's the number I'm using.
Hey, here's a number for you. 75% of all deaths in the military are non-combat.
Yep.
25% are combat of some kind, right? And then from that 75% that are non-combat, 93% are on American soil.
Yes. And that's the problem. They're dying stateside.
Yeah.
It's not like they're in a, well, they are in a combat zone in the United States. They're battling toxic abusive leadership and abusive power.
That's right. That is the war right there. That's combat. That's the combat.
To add to that, when we, and I don't know if you know this, Heather, I may have told you, when we ask for FOIA information, when we submit FOIA information, did you know that the FOIA office runs our requests by our loved one's command?
No.
That allow redactions. They tell them what to redact. Yes, we found that out.
Well, that explains why there's some things missing out of Caleb's. When I got his medical records. What do they want to hide from that? I wonder.
Exactly. And that is why everything is redacted. And if you guys don't know what redaction is, it's the black marks on here.
It's where they take out.
Yeah. Everything. They redact everything. So, yes, we found that out when we were talking, when we were trying to get the command climate survey statements unredacted, because when we requested them, we knew that there were derogatory comments about the command, and Brandon wrote one, and we wanted those. And when we got the command climate surveys, and we went, and I got to the end where the comment section was, it was all redacted. Not one thing was unredacted.
Yeah, not a blemish. Not a blemish on their character at all.
Right. I appealed it. The JAG guy, the JAG officer, doing the FOIA said, I am this close from getting it unredacted. So he told me exactly what to write. He said, here's what you need to do. You need to submit a, what do they call it? Amendment. So and he told me what to write. I did it. I had it, and we were getting them, right? We were getting them. Well, he came back probably a couple weeks later, and he says, I'm sorry. You just didn't hit the mark. We can't unredact them. And I said, but sir, you told me that if I wrote this, it would be unredacted. He said, and I thought they would do that. And I said, who's they? And he said, HSC 28. I said, they have a say in what's redacted and what's not? And he said, absolutely. We always run everything by the command. I said, are you kidding me? That's not fair. I said, we deserve to know. And Patrick's like, it's national security to get these unredacted, because these people are going to kill and kill again if they are not held accountable.
That's right, because you're adding to the culture. Every time you let somebody get away with literal murder and literal, murder of the heart and the mind, I mean, you're creating a culture of toxic, abusive leadership, folks.
Yep. And
think about your workplace. Would any of this fly in your workplace? Come on, people. People be fired left and right.
Exactly.
No
questions asked.
Yeah.
Where's your pink
We
slip?
all know.
Don't let the door hit you in the butt as you walk out the door.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I have a responsibility as a teacher to make sure my kids are safe.
Yeah.
If I leave the room for something or whatever, I mean, I'm taking a chance on one of my kids get a hold of something in the art room. I mean, I would lose my job, my license. I would probably be charged with something. Reckless endangerment of children. I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking about of things that people might charge me with on that level, and my life would just be over in a way, my career. I mean, you think parents are going to have mercy? Hey, and by the way, we are parents, and we're not going to have mercy, because it's not okay what has happened to our soldiers, and we don't want it to happen to Any of our other Blue Star Sisters soldiers? We don't want it to happen to you. We love you, soldiers. We love you, our beautiful patriots. You are very precious. Your blood, the value of you is worth more than any dollar sign.
Yep, and that's why we created the Brandon Act. We want to keep our service members safe, and they should be safe. They're at the command stateside. They should be safe, and they're not.
Yeah.
And, you know, DOD, Department of Defense, they allow this to happen. They're just as toxic and abusive as...
Oh, yeah. Well, they're running the whole dang thing.
Yep. They you know, I don't know. They nobody seems to care anymore. And that's got to stop.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can be tough when you need to be. When you need to be. You don't have to be tough all the time.
Yeah, you don't have to. I mean, like, remember, Teri, do you remember that young Army mom that you helped, that we kind of guided through? Her son was in basic training, and he had, like, hurt himself, and he was on his way out anyway. He was being medically discharged, and what did the guys do? They made him be on crutches anyway and do all the shit everybody else was doing, and except for they only did it so they could tell him to stand behind the dumpster, because that's where trash should stand. Trash should stand behind the trash can. And this kid was ready to kill himself.
Yep.
So what do you think I did? Here's a brand new Army mom, brand new Patriot, going through basic training. I'm writing him. His mom's getting letters. I'm like, haven't heard from, by the way, his name is Caleb too. And I haven't heard from Caleb. Tell me what's going on, Mom. And she says, well, I'm worried, and here's what's happening. And he's wanting to kill himself and all this. So I get on the phone with Teri, and I'm like, what can we do? And she's like, here's what we're going to do. And so we walk this mom through, or Teri does anyway, through some steps that actually did help her get her son out of there. But, you know, I mean, there's so many more. And, I mean, we are just one person. We need the Brandon Act. It's a net. We're just trying. We're doing this.
The problem is you don't hear about it.
You don't hear about any of this stuff, except for right here on this channel right here. Maybe Teri's, if we can get her to start doing these live videos. And Shanta, but I mean, Teri has lots of videos on her channel, The Brandon Act. She also has a website called The Brandon Act. And on Facebook, it's The Brandon Act. And also she has Teri Caserta and Brandon Caserta. You know, I wish we could help everybody. We don't have enough time in the day. I mean, we help whoever reaches out to us and needs it. We do our best. But this right here is a net. And we just... God bless you soldiers, you patriots. I know that what we're saying right now means something to you.
And I know our stories are unimaginable. And some of our stories, there's no way it happened. I mean, I still think there is no way Brandon did what he did. There is no way that command treated him like crap. But
yeah. Except here's all the proof.
Exactly.
You know, you got to know a family that's gone through this to actually get the end result of any of the investigations or anything like that. I mean, you don't see, like you see in Army Times and Stars and Stripes and stuff like that, you know, you see the soldiers' stories, you know, this person died, blah, blah, blah. But then you don't hear any, like, what happened? What really happened? Exactly. You don't hear anything. And the media won't cover our stories because of the DOD. They don't want a blemish on their image.
Correct. And what I was going to say is, those of you who are close or thinking about dying by suicide, let me tell you, your family will not get justice. You will never get justice. Dying by suicide is not the answer.
Mm-hmm. We need to link arms.
Do what?
We need to link arms.
Yes. Because you don't, the one thing none of us want is for another service member to endure what Brandon and Caleb and so many other Gold Star families have endured. And being where I'm at, I'm a Gold Star mother, I don't want any other family to go through what we have gone through.
Yeah. We're zombies. We are the walking dead. That's why I paint us this way.
Exactly. And we may not look like it, that we are zombies or, we are constantly grieving.
Yeah.
It never goes away. Mm. And your pain, if like Brandon, he died, his pain is gone. His pain is gone. Mine just started.
Yeah.
Mine started. And mine is going to last until the day I die. Mm-hmm. And I don't think in the state that Brandon was in, it's not that he didn't care. He didn't know. He thought, okay, I'm going to do this, and toxic abusive leadership is going to end.
Yeah.
Because I did this. Mm-hmm. Well, it doesn't end. Mm-hmm. In Brandon's case, nobody cared. Mm-hmm. Nobody still cares that he is gone. And one of a sailor that literally, Patrick, well, mostly me, helped out of Brandon's command. You don't know how many times she first reached out to us, probably 6 to 8 months after Brandon died. She ended up being the closest one to Brandon when he died. She was on a ledge of a high-rise hotel, and she decided to call us. And we talked her down.
Oh, Teri.
I'll tell you what, that was scary.
Oh,
and
Teri.
She has called us, me mostly, because I do all the talking to these service members. She had called me, and it's been almost 2.5 years with her, and she has called probably 10 times.
Yeah.
Thinking, wanting to end her life. And she's finally, unfortunately, being she's hoping to be medically separated, but she doesn't want to end her Navy career. She wants to be a lifer, and they're not helping her. Her command, she finally told her command why she is the way she is. And about Brandon's death. Her current command flat out told her, we are hurting more than you're hurting. We lost a sailor. And she's like, I lost a friend. I knew Brandon. You didn't know him. And she's beside herself. I'm beside myself, hearing that they actually said that to her. That's not helping her at all. And she has to live. She has to live with being frozen, not being able to move her body to help Brandon. She has to live with that. a lot. That's a lot for anybody to do. And they treat her like crap.
And she saw this happen?
Yes. She was the closest to him at the time of his death. Yeah. And she's not over it.
No, how could you be? I mean,
but she needs help, and she's asked for help, and their solution is to get her out of the Navy. Really, that's your solution? The solution is getting her help and getting her to where she was on June 25th, 2018 at 3 p.m. That is what needs to happen. And they're dismissing it like she's nothing. Let that sink in. She's asking for help, and they're not giving it to her. They're kicking her out.
They're hiding their head in the sand. Blows me away.
Yep.
Let's not be accountable. We teach, that's what they say, we're to be accountable, but they don't even know what that word means.
It's not in their vocabulary.
Oh, Teri.
Our service members.
Okay.
Not to mention the command that had to clean it up. No words.
Well, I want to say that I'm thankful for you and the courage that God has given you, because I believe God has called you to this task. And I'm just going to pray and believe that it will be successful.
That's all we can do. Thank
And
you.
That's all we can
And
do.
pray that you and Heather continue to listen to God and move forward. Dig your heels in and don't quit. And the people that are jealous, because it's not called Cindy's Act or Jeffrey's Act or, whatever, they did nothing to make this move forward, but you are. So
Exactly.
I say that's just envy and jealousy, and that's their problem, not yours.
And the truth is that it's hard to do what we're doing. It's so much easier, honestly, to put your head under and pretend and go along with the bamboozling.
Yeah.
But I can't be bamboozled. Hey, I grew up with a father that was the biggest bamboozler, so I know, I see through all the bullshit. And you can't bamboozle me. All your little shiny things that you wear here and your perfectly tailored, uniforms, they don't mean shit to me. Not if you're going to act with such dishonor.
Right.
If you're gonna represent our country well and be a good, well-rounded patriot and lead with integrity and empathy, then you deserve the glory of that beautiful, uniform and all the bells and whistles that are attached to that thing that you worked hard for. But I don't respect it. I can't respect somebody that's lying to me in my face. I can't respect. You're a disgrace to the uniform. You're a disgrace to every medal and every shiny little thing that's on there. And it's laughable. I don't mean any disrespect to anyone, any service member out there. It's not a disrespect. Please don't take it that way. And remember, hey, we are mothers of service members that have died under mysterious and odd circumstances. And so we know that there are lots of you guys and gals out there that are going through tumultuous times, and you don't have anybody that's got your back, and you keep being told that you're, not to go to sick call and not to go to get help for this, that, or the other. They're gonna drop you, or they're gonna this or that. You don't even get to have the actual basic rights that all of us civilians have, and you fight to protect our rights, and you don't get shit.
Exactly. And I did forget, because I don't know, I just forgot. They put a gag order. Commanding Officer Dwayne Whitmer and Trevor Prouty put a gag order on their command. The gag order said if anybody from that command spoke with us or the media, they would consider it mutiny and will be thrown into Leavenworth prison for the rest of their lives. Not only did they say it after Brandon died, like a day, they said it again when we had the military corruption article and the military.com article come out in early 2019. They put it out again. And then we also found out that the year mark on June 25th, 2019, 1 year after Brandon's death, that everybody in HSC 28 had to work that day. Nobody worked at night. Everybody came in during the day because they were afraid someone else was going to do what Brandon did. They thought somebody else was going to do what Brandon did. Does that not tell you there's a freaking problem at HSC 28?
Uh-huh. Well, you said too that Brandon was in his text messages helping others.
Yes, he was.
That were feeling the need to take their own life.
Yep.
And so to me, that's just a toxic culture, and it's everywhere. It wasn't just him that was feeling that. And he was being treated worse than a dog.
Yes.
So
and there's one sailor in that command who was sexually assaulted 7 times. They had DNA. It was a match. They did nothing to her assailant. 0.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Of course not. Of course.
Yeah, of course.
Of course not. This is like we've been... God, man, I think about, like, let's see. It's a year and... Let's see, April... I'm sorry. January, February, March, April. Yeah, and a year and like 3 months for me. A year and 3 months. A year and 3 months ago, I was just this little happy little army mom. Sunshine and rainbows. And paratroopers jumping out of airplanes. And yay!
It's been exactly, because today's the 22nd.
And meanwhile, I was thinking about what you just said about 2019. That article came out that you're talking about. And here I am, like, I'm just doing the math in my head of, like, here I am, 2019. And you said when in 2019?
18.
June 25?
June 25th of 2000. When that article came out, though.
19.
The article came out, we had one hit. What? I guess it was, July 2019.
So the summer that Caleb is in basic training, an article comes out about Brandon and this command. Caleb's in basic training. Less than, we'll say 6 months later, Caleb's dead. It just, I don't know. I'm thinking about how much my life has changed and how all of everything has changed. And I didn't know anything about, like, any of the things that were going on under the current of the military. And here I am, like, it's a huge wake-up call for me. I couldn't believe what was happening to me. You know, them telling me 3 weeks before Caleb's body's going to get home, waiting a whole week to tell me that his body was too decomposed to be viewable. They knew when they knew the moment. I mean, I'm sorry. Did I say the moment? They knew before that because they could smell his body.
Well, they knew it when they found him.
And they knew it when they found him.
Yeah.
I mean, who tries to do check for breath on a body that's all black and blue, and you have decomposition fluid around the whole body that you can visibly see. It's a huge puddle. Caleb was a puddle, basically. And his hands were all dried up and mummified. I don't know. And hey, and then we look at Christina, and her brother didn't even have an investigation.
Right.
Whether it was, he didn't have a military investigation and he didn't have a civilian investigation.
Well, I can tell you this, when NCIS did their little investigation for Brandon, we were told that they were only investigating to make sure that the ME's, the medical examiner's report matched what truly happened to Brandon. They did not investigate anything we sent them. Patrick sent them everything that they need to look for, and they did none of that. We told them about the driver's license. We told them about the toxic abusive leadership. We told them what was done to Brandon. We told them everything. And they did not investigate the command. They did nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It should have been a criminal investigation, and they didn't do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just makes me mad.
Mm-hmm. It's just like when the command came out and told me, oh, Caleb, the last person anybody that talked to Caleb, or the last time anybody saw him was on the 17th of January. And I had the phone records that showed and proved that the last time anybody talked to Caleb was on the 15th. He didn't, like, you can see it right clearly in the phone records. And I said to the CID, you might want to look at the phone records. Nope, we're closing the investigation. And I said, you need to look at this. We are closing the investigation. Listen here, you need to look at this. We are closing the investigation, ma'am.
Well, the investigator said that no one had checked on him, 2 different ones. And then the colonel comes out and says, oh, yeah, we checked on him on the 20th.
No, there's Yeah, there's...
So, I mean, it's just...
Well, there's back and forth. It's like in the investigation, there's just... Their dates are all over the place.
Well, yeah, they're covering their rear ends.
Yeah. But the last time we heard from him was the 14th.
The last time we ever heard from him was the 14th of January.
Morning, afternoon, night?
Oh, gee.
I mean, I don't remember, honestly.
Morning.
I think it was...
It was morning, probably, when I heard from him on the 14th.
I think I remember laying in bed. It was the evening. No, it wasn't the evening. Yeah, it was the evening. He didn't want to talk on the phone. I tried to call him. He didn't want to talk on the phone. He wasn't feeling good. He said, I can't talk on the phone. I mean, he was wearing night vision goggles when he came to formation because he couldn't see. He had such a bad headache. Caleb wasn't ridiculous. He didn't do things to... I mean, he was really in a lot of pain. He was sick.
Yeah, I do.
I mean, if in fact he did die of acute bacterial meningitis, if any of this shit's true, I mean, it's a painful and very miserable and agonizing death, people. And, I mean, I've been criticized for comparing. I mean, I'm not comparing, but I'm actually just saying, you know Enrique Roman Martinez, the soldier from Fort Bragg that lost his head, literally? And they only found his head? Yeah. Well, I mean, I was actually criticized for comparing the two, Caleb and Roman. I'm not really comparing them. I'm saying that there's a common theme running through all of our cases of negligence and unaccountability. Nobody wants to take ownership or accountability to fix a problem. I mean,
right.
In order to fix a problem, you have to say there's a problem.
Yeah, right.
But you can't, I mean, when you don't want to have a blemish on your image, you know.
Yep.
You know, Caleb died an agonizing death in his room alone. In Roman, we don't really know exactly what happened to him, but we know that he lost his head, is all we know. Which is worse? Which is worse? I mean, I don't know how you can compare it, honestly. I don't know what happened to Roman, but God bless. I mean, they died under such mysterious circumstances, and the common theme here is negligence.
Right.
And
exactly.
Toxic cultures, whether it's, you know, I guess abusive maybe sometimes, but toxic. I would say that that's a toxic, there's something toxic in that unit or that command. You know, I mean, like Caleb's, there's something toxic there. It's not healthy.
No. And they wonder why there are so many suicides, or why our service members are not mentally healthy. They wonder. And you know, we went to a hearing while we were in D.C. in 2019 to pitch the Brandon Act. They had the Senate held it, and they had experts that said they don't know why the suicide rate is so high. And Congress said, we have given you over, I want to say they said $35 billion to fix the suicide rates. One of the witnesses, and I don't remember what branch he was from, said, and they said, and you've only used 5,000 of it. $5,000.
Of how much?
Out of, I want to say 35, maybe it was million, not billion. Maybe it was billion.
And they only use $5,000 of it?
It's because they're not trying. They don't care.
Do you know what that guy said back? he said, we did not know that money was for that. we're sitting there going, what? Are you, I know I did not just hear that.
I have a job. What was it I do again? I can't remember. I forgot.
We didn't know it was for that.
We didn't know that all this $35 million is to help, stop suicide. It's suicide prevention. Blah blah blah. I mean, really?
Yeah. And DOD will tell you that they have zero tolerance for sexual assault, sexual harassment, bullying, hazing, anything else that you can think of. They do. They have an instruction, and it's instruction 1020.03. It was implemented on February 18th, 2018. It was redone. What do they call that? Revised. And not one command implemented it. And they say, we have zero tolerance. And my question to DOD, if you have zero tolerance, why is Brandon dead? Why are there people dying by suicide if you have zero tolerance? What does your zero tolerance look like to you? Because zero tolerance to me looks like zero tolerance.
Like what I said,
it's just mouth
what
service.
I said to the command was, this is what I said, this is the best you can do for Caleb. This is the best you can do for your son.
Exactly.
It's the best you can do for your son.
If this was their son, if this was any commander's general, congressperson, a senator, Lloyd Austin, the Secretary of Defense, if our children was their children, do you really think they aren't going to get answers? Of course they are. Do you think that changes will not happen? They're going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Heads are going to roll.
Little people that can't get things done because, I'm glad it's them and not me. That's what they're saying.
They can just get more death with them.
Yeah, our servicemen and women are ammunition.
They're guinea pigs.
They're guinea pigs. They are not the weapon.
No.
They are the ammunition, and they are expendable. And I don't understand it because we're spending so much money training, like you said, $30,000 training Brandon, and whatever they've spent on
$300.
Oh, $300. Sorry, $300,000. Sorry, I'm getting a little tired here. Training Brandon, and I mean, who knows how much they've spent training Caleb? I don't know, but I mean, I think about what his paycheck was over the last 8 months, over 8 months.
Not much.
I think about like what everybody else got paid during that time to train him, and they're just going to be like, oh well, no big deal.
Yeah.
Right?
But they look at losing service members as the cost of doing business. That is how they treat their service members' deaths.
Jonathan says $345,000 per trainee.
Yep. Depending on, and it could be more depending on what training they're going through. Like Brandon, he was going through SEAL training. You can't tell me that didn't cost money.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm tired of everybody treating our service members' lives like the cost of doing business. That is not, they are not a number.
Cost of doing business. We're talking about living, breathing people here, folks.
Yep. Yep.
Someone who valued so much to us.
They do too much to be in toxic, abusive climates. That needs to stop.
Yeah, Jonathan said airborne can be a lot more because of equipment, and I would think Navy SEAL training would be a shit ton.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, for paratrooper, think of all the gas they need to fly that airplane.
That's true. The aircraft, yeah.
Yeah.
All those drops and stuff, and
those planes are not cheap either.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and you know, DOD treats, what do I say? DOD treats the Constitution like a list of suggestions.
yeah. They treat the servicemen, well, the ones that were a part of Caleb's unit, at least treated the paratrooper creed the same way, the NCO creed the same way, the Army values the same way, as a suggestion.
Yeah, and they do that with the UCMJ. The UCMJ and the Constitution are treated like suggestions and not like laws. And that's got to stop. That has got to stop. And you see sexual assault in the UCMJ, and they have these other service members dead to right, and they don't do a thing. Do you know what sexual assault is, for the what they consider a punishment for sexual assault? A court-martial and death. They can kill them if
Wow.
they are found guilty.
Be a lot of folks dead. They'd be losing a lot of service members out there.
And honestly, I think the military still has firing squads.
Wow,
They
can you
don't-
imagine?
Of course, they don't use it, but I think they still do. But they don't. Again, if somebody sexually assaulted somebody and it was proven without a doubt, they should have the UCMJ thrown at them. And they don't. They get away with it. And that is why I say they treat the UCMJ and the Constitution of the United States as a list of suggestions. Our service members, when they join, they do not lose their rights. They do not lose their constitutional rights.
Yeah.
The military wants them to believe they did because they have the UCMJ, but they don't. They still have intact the Constitution of the United States.
Whew. Well, Teri, man, girl, we have, I don't know how long we've been on because I don't really care. I feel like everything that was said tonight we needed to talk about, and I feel like there's just so much more. And I'd really, really love it if at some point we can all figure out how to get together. You, me, Shanta, some other Gold Star families that have lost their loved ones under these strange circumstances. Because, I mean, I just think that, you know, our public, we the people, needs to hear how our servicemen and women have passed away. There's so many more. I think about the Luckies, Daniela. I mean, gosh, we talk about Lavina Johnson, we talk about Kamisha Block, we, you know, of course, Brandon and Caleb, and I think about Justin Paw. I think about, I mean, there's just so many people, and I'm sure there's so many that you have met that I haven't met. But anyway, I just, you know, here we are across the universe from each other. You know, you're in Arizona, I'm in Texas, Shanta's in Texas, let's see, Christina's she's in Ohio, I think.
Yeah, I think she is.
I mean, we're all kind of spread out everywhere, you know, but it would be so nice to be able to get together and, you know, since the media doesn't cover our stories, we just really need to get our stories out there. And I think it's just, for me, to be able to sit here across the table from you, and it's very powerful for me, and it gives me a lot of hope and a lot of strength to keep going, because you've made it. As long as you have, it shows me that I can do it, and I can make it, and hopefully together we can get some of these, you know, we can get some of these stories out there so that we can talk more about the Brandon Act. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm thinking about certain two-step, Adam. You know, that's a big topic on my mind right now, thinking about his mom and the two-step act. That we're trying to get past, and anyway, we'll be talking more about that. We had his mother on last night, or night before last, and we'll be doing more. Please encourage Teri, this beautiful Gold Star mother. You did such an amazing job tonight. Everything that you said, people need to hear. I needed to hear it again. I don't think I've ever sat and listened to the entire story before, and now I have this this live is recorded, so I'm going to download it and put it on Caleb's YouTube channel. And we can share it through Facebook that way. We can share it. You can share it through all your different channels that way. But guys, encourage Teri here, please. We need her. I know. It is a lot. It is a lot for us to come out, and I mean, I'm exhausted. I know you probably can't tell, but I'm mentally, emotionally exhausted right now. And here I am. I don't even know what time it is.
It's about midnight.
Oh, here we are. It's about midnight.
Well, it is midnight.
It's midnight in Lubbock, Texas, and to me, it's been worth every hour that I've been on. Getting to share Brandon's story and talking to you, and I just feel honored. So thank you so much for being here. Thanks for being on. I feel like there's so much more we could cover, even after all of that epic story you just shared with us. But please, 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 Teri, I hope this gives you the strength you did an amazing job. And we all need to hear more of what you've gone through and what Brandon died to give all of our service members. So, so much love to you, sister. Guys, please go to Teri's page, The Brandon Act. This is Brandon Caserta. He was with the Navy. He died. He gave his life. He gave his life to protect others. He laid down his life. There was a lot of other folks that he was trying to help so that they would not take their lives. And I almost feel like he just said, I'll do it. I'll take it. I'll take this one for the team. And that, to me, he is a hero, and always will be. And I know that him and his battle, this guy right here, these guys are together in paradise, hanging out, probably laughing their asses off at us right now. I mean, look at that Henri. Look, you know. Hi, Caleb. You're just beautiful. We love you, and we love Brandon. I'll see you out there, Teri, on the airwaves, and I'm sure we'll talk, you know, tomorrow or this weekend for sure. I'm sure we talk a lot, and it's how we get by. It's how we get through, is supporting one another and just listening and hearing one another out. So thank you so much to everybody. Thank you so much, Ashley. Is that Ashley? Oh, thank you so much, Ashley. You're so sweet. I'm going to give you a follow there, but please go follow The Brandon Act. And like I said, just look up The Brandon Act online on, you know, just Google it. Just Google it, you know, The Brandon Act. And you'll find Teri, you'll find so much about Brandon's story. So, God bless you, Teri.
God bless you, Heather.
God bless America.
God bless America.
God bless America. Home of the free.
Because of the brave.
Because of the brave. Thank you so much, all of you beautiful patriots. We love you. We love you. We love you. Woo! Woo! We love you. You're our heroes. We want to take care of you and protect you. Okay. I'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.